Okay. Alright, this is the finished product. Unfortunately, I didn't video how badly it was rusted. It was frozen and I couldn't get it off. I tried beating it. It wouldn't work. So I'll go on to the next step, which was using a puller that I had to make myself. I made this, but I got a warning from someone very wise that I might crack that. Well, I don't want to do that. I went and bought a commercial puller, too small. So I made my own. So let's see if it works. I may have to take it off and reduce the size of that shaft, but let's first see if this even gets me anywhere. Let's take a ride. Yeah. So you can see in there. It's not quite centered as I would like it, but I got the frame in the way, so we'll see if this has any effect. Okay, well, for better or for worse, here we go. I'm going to have to change a light here so I can see what I'm doing better. Okay, well, I put a rod in one of the lower holes of the brake bracket, and let's see what we get. Okay, I think my issue now is, I think I've got a centering issue that's interfering with things because I saw a slight movement. We're gonna see if we can't take a little off of this to make it a little bit narrower. Okay, now I've pointed it off a little bit. Okay, let's try her again. Take a look and see if I'm only on the shaft. I do appear to be only on the shaft. Oh, got a pop. Got another pop. Okay, before I go too far, let me throw a little bit of the stuff, Croil. And, hey! By Jove, I think I've got it. I think that's it. That is it. We have success. It did it. Crud. So, if you ever need to take one of these off, there's your ticket. It's 5/8 all thread, a couple 5/8 nuts, and a couple pieces of angle iron welded to 3/8 thick flat bar. It worked. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use something that will take care of that rust. I don't know if y'all probably already know it, what it is. Navel jelly. It's awesome. It eats that rust up. It eats that rust for dinner. Look at that. Look at what it's already doing to that rust. It's like, see this? Just, you want to wear gloves with this stuff and you don't want to breathe it. You want a well ventilated area. Okay, I'm going to let that sit and soak. I want to put some more on this. And let it sit. And we'll come back to it in a little while. Okay, well, thought I'd show you this. It's not beautiful, but it's better than it was. And that's using the navel jelly. I'm going to hit it with a few more applications and then see if I can't clean it up a little bit more without the navel jelly to make sure everything's off. You have to rinse it off with water. So this I've done a couple applications, and it's going to require more work because it's pretty heavily rusted. Alright, let's see what I can do here. I'm sure there's somebody probably watching me cringing right now. There we go. There we go. Yeah, baby. Okay. Let's put some more navel jelly on here and then let it soak. Yeah, see, that's pretty bad on the bottom. And that's mainly because that's the position it's been sitting in probably. So let's just dab that on and let it sit there. And while we're at it, remember this is navel jelly. Let's put a liberal coat on this. Again. It's like shampooing, rinse and repeat. I'm trying to rotate the shaft a little bit while I'm working on it. As you saw in the last one, I used the 3M pad. I wasn't as happy with it, so I decided this time I'd try some emery cloth. Let's put a little bit more of the goop on. And let it sit. Alright. Well, we've waited about 15 minutes. And let's see what we can do now. Well, I think that's probably good. Alright, now all I need to do is get some copper-based anti-seize. Okay, well, there it is. After 4 applications, I think that's probably going to be good. That should do it. This is going to require a little brushing. So I'll have to clean my key off. Alright, well, I was advised that I shouldn't use the aluminum anti-seize, that I should use the copper. So I have got some, just a little container of it. Well, I can will this to my children and my grandchildren and probably their grandchildren. this in place. And get this on. If I can't get this set back into place. Because it's supposed to float. Doesn't exactly look like something that wants to float, does it? Okay, I'm ready to put this back together. Now if you see here, I have new pads. I'm going to have to do that on the front. I didn't have them when I redid the front. Who cares about, are you smarter than a fifth grader? Are you smarter than a wrench? So, the brakes are tight. So tight that they're not letting it rotate. And I think what I need to do is have a little spacer here. Technically I probably shouldn't have a spacer, but I want to put a spacer in it so I'm not having to shave the brake down in order to make the pads work. That might be just what I need. Then once the pads are once the pads are broke in and they don't need spacer, I can remove it. I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of room in between. That's better. Okay. Yes, we have working brakes. Woohoo! Then that pretty much at this point is it for this part. The rear brakes are now working. The anti-seize is in place. Everything works good. I've got good movement. Brake is holding. It might require a little bit of an adjustment, but I can do that up at the handlebars later. Hallelujah. Okay, all I need now, I think, is I do need to put a cotter pin in here, so I'll have to get a cotter pin and put that in. The back brakes are done and working. So I think the next thing will be to put the rear fender back on and then install the motor. Woohoo! Thanks for watching. I'm Carl, Ranger Commander, and this is Outpost Discovery. Let's have some adventures in camping. Oh, and please, you don't have to subscribe, but I would appreciate it that if you view these videos to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down on YouTube. That kind of gives me an idea of how I'm doing. If no one wants to make any comment, that's fine, but I don't mind. Thank you, and see you next time.